Have you ever wondered why some people seem to stop growing even though opportunities to learn are all around them? Sometimes the biggest obstacle isn't a lack of intelligence, talent, or opportunity. It's the ego. An unchecked ego can quietly convince us that we already know enough, that every criticism is a personal attack, or that admitting a mistake would somehow make us weaker. The irony is that the stronger the ego becomes, the harder it is to grow, because growth requires something the ego often resists: humility. Today, we'll explore what psychology tells us about the relationship between ego and learning, why an unchecked ego can make someone uncoachable, and how developing humility can unlock continuous personal growth. Being coachable doesn't mean agreeing with everything people say. It doesn't mean accepting every opinion without question. Instead, being coachable means staying open to learning. It means listening before reacting, considering feedback carefully, being willing to admit, I may have something to improve. Psychologists often describe a growth mindset as the belief that abilities can be developed through effort, learning, and experience. People with this mindset don't see feedback as an attack. They see it as information. That's what makes them easier to teach and more likely to improve over time. The ego isn't always loud or arrogant. Sometimes it's surprisingly quiet. Its main goal is to protect the image you have of yourself. When someone points out a mistake, your ego may immediately think, they don't understand me, they're wrong, they're just criticizing me. This reaction can happen before you've even considered whether the feedback is helpful. Psychologists believe this kind of defensiveness is often an automatic attempt to protect self-esteem. The problem is that if you reject every uncomfortable truth, you also reject many opportunities to grow. Imagine trying to fill a cup that's already convinced it's full. Nothing new can enter. Learning works the same way. If you assume you already know everything worth knowing, your mind becomes closed to new perspectives. An unchecked ego often responds to advice with excuses. Instead of asking, what can I learn from this? It asks, how can I prove I'm right? That shift changes everything, because the goal is no longer improvement. The goal becomes protecting pride. And pride rarely teaches us anything new. Some people believe admitting mistakes makes them look weak. In reality, the opposite is often true. It takes confidence to say, I was wrong. It takes maturity to admit, I still have more to learn. Humility isn't thinking less of yourself. It's thinking honestly about yourself. It's recognizing your strengths without pretending you're perfect. The most respected leaders, athletes, artists, and professionals often continue learning throughout their lives. Not because they lack confidence, but because they know growth never truly ends. Not every piece of feedback is accurate. Some criticism is unfair. Some advice won't apply to your situation. But dismissing everything automatically can prevent valuable insight. Instead of reacting immediately, ask yourself, is there anything useful here? Even if only 10% of the feedback helps you improve, that 10% is valuable. Listening doesn't mean agreeing. It means remaining curious. Curiosity keeps learning alive. Imagine where you'll be 5 years from now if you continue learning from every experience. Now imagine where you'll be if you reject every correction because it feels uncomfortable. The difference can be enormous. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every challenge becomes an opportunity. Every conversation becomes a chance to grow. The people who continue improving throughout life aren't necessarily the smartest. They're often the most willing to learn. They understand that personal growth isn't about proving you already know everything. It's about becoming a little wiser every day. If you recognize some of these patterns in yourself, don't be discouraged. Everyone has an ego. The goal isn't to eliminate it. The goal is to keep it from controlling your decisions. The next time someone offers constructive feedback, pause before reacting. Ask yourself, am I protecting my pride or improving my future? That single question can completely change the way you approach learning, because every moment of humility opens the door to growth. Every honest conversation strengthens your character, and every lesson you accept brings you one step closer to becoming the person you're capable of being. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to be perfect. You simply have to remain teachable, because the people who grow the most in life aren't those who believe they have all the answers. They're the ones who never stop asking questions, never stop learning, and never allow their ego to become bigger than their desire to improve. Your greatest strength isn't always being right. Sometimes it's having the courage to admit you still have something valuable to learn.